Welcome to the World Stock Car Racing League Round 1 of the 2022 season at Edgewater. Charles Davis leads the field to the green, and we're underway for the first race of the 2022 season of the World Stock Car Racing League. Davis gets a real good start of the zero of Katikumala and starts to build a pretty lengthy gap between him and the zero. Here is the number 60 Evangelina Volkov as the field flies by. Very good qualifying effort from Comanda Autosport. The Russian put the car up in third, I believe, and we'll have to see how that pans out. 160 laps at this 1 mile track. It's going to be some fun racing, it's going to be some hard racing, and whoever wins this is going to be $1 million richer. Some good oh gosh, some good battles between Wscrl and I believe that's Paul Wscrl in the 26. Nope, that's my mistake. That's Hana Samsa in the 46. The REI racing car is looking very familiar. As Patriot Racing is having a pretty good showing too. Clyde Chandler and Mark Mann running close to each other. It's a 3 wide in the back. And is that who and will you believe that it is the Dawson family racing team? You know, these are career back markers. David Dawson in the 42 and Jay Dawson in the 40. You know, these are guys who, you know, always are in the back. So to see them up in almost in the top 10 in 13th and 15th respectively is crazy, and let's hope that this pace continues. They've been consistent on ovals. The team's best finish was 7th at Irwindale when David Dawson got his first top 10 back in 2007. A long time ago. It feels like yesterday, but it's a long time ago. And there's some 3 wide action in the back. But if they can do good this season, we'll really have to see. And the caution is out. We'll have to see who it is for. Oh, that's a pretty sizable wreck. Oh, that's, I believe. Oh my goodness gracious, Sorensen, Kamala, the 7. Oh goodness, Viktorov. I see the 46. Oh. Big junk. Oh my goodness gracious. Brakes, people, brakes. Oh my goodness gracious. I don't know what that was. Oh, we're gonna have to check everyone's brakes after that, because that was just inexcusable. And this was all the way in the back. We'll have to see what happened. Oh. We'll have to see what happened. So it looks like the 14 of Julian Blank shifts up into the 12 of Marshalek and collects Gore. And Gore, oh goodness, goes for a ride, spinning like a top on his hood. And that, I think it's safe to say that that will be the end of his race. And I do not know what the 41 of Sorensen was doing. No, not Sorensen, that is Sarah Yarvi. Sarah Yarvi was doing But we were just talking about the Dawson family. It looks like they got a little bit of damage on David and Jay. It'll be interesting to see how that damage affects the aerodynamic properties of the car. As you see Sarah Yarvi, but lots of engine smoke. You can see whoa! I don't know what's going on there. I'm stunned. Helga Axelson obviously was not happy and just hooked him. And sadly, Rossana Verano was an innocent victim in that basically shenanigans. And that really did not need to happen. And we'll have to see who comes out of pits first. That's Kumala, Volkov, Viktorov, Karstensen, Chandler, the 52 of Kemp, I believe, 40 of Jay Dawson, Zyalenbeck, yeah, and there's David Dawson. I'm losing track. I can see Ricardo Morello, I2, and a couple of other cars, but the more damaged cars like the 34 of Lisa Sorensen got in. Arturo Torres has some damage. The super critical car of Wscrl. Oh, that car has no front end. That is, I believe, Mary Harper in the 81 for Apex Racing. As the pit exit is closed for a little bit, they come back out. I think I saw Randall Fox in the 33. Looks like he might go a lap down. But that was just a silly move. That was a wreck that really should have not been as big as it was. Eddie Pearson with some major damage in that 21 driving for Apollo Autosport. Yeah, there's not really much to say except that I think that car is going to the garage for a little bit to get some damage fixed. And I think that's the 35 of oh gosh, her name, yep, Nicole Gale. Her name escaped me for a second. As you can see, the 7 of Pierre Descoteaux. I believe he's the first car 1 lap down. No, he's not. But Yu Serizawa for KMZ race team. That's a surprising showing up front. Must have had a real good pit stop. But 1 to go here at, or 1 to green here at Edgewater. We've seen some shenanigans, and I wouldn't blame you if you think there isn't going to be more. But we're waiting. Green flag. That's Hans Oakson on the inside of Serizawa. Charles Davis behind Kati Kumala. Angelina Volkov, I believe that's Viktorov back there. So 4th and 5th controlled by Commanda Automobiles. Automobiles, there we go. But Yu Serizawa is starting to pull away. It probably helps that with Charles Davis in the 10 just had a hard time getting to the bottom of the track because Wscrl was on his inside, but now he can pretty much fly up to Serizawa. Look how close he made the distance between them. And we'll have to check up on that this battle soon. If it, oh, look how good Davis just can get through the center of the corner and launch out of the corner. Yeah, Serizawa really doesn't have an option but to just give it up or get shunted. So Charles Davis is your leader again, and on lap 16. Scroll through the back. A lot of it's lapped cars, I believe. Yeah, Wscrl, Randall Fox. Randall Fox just had a bad pit stop. I'm not exactly sure what happened with Apollo Autosport as the 29 merges. Oh, Volkov, don't do that. Oh, that is a very risky move. Sailing it in there. But sometimes you gotta do that to get by pesky lap cars, as Mark Mann tucks in behind Volkov, but can't get past Randall Fox. So we'll have to see how Randall Fox's race pans out, because it is not very good to be a lap down this early in the race. As Arturo Torres is all the way in the back, it looks like he's going to be caught by Volkov soon, as Eddie Pearson brings his mangled car back into pit lane. Mr. Pearson, I think it's time to just take that car behind the wall. I don't think there's a lot you can do to it. But scrolling through the field, some of the Walter Energy cars. Shu is running in a solid 18th place with I believe that's David Dawson. Yep, David Dawson up front. Not up front. Farther ahead in 14th place, which is a great showing for a Dawson car. You know, these Dawson family cars, unsponsored, and they really need some good showings to pick up any sponsor that they can, honestly. They've really, you know, you don't want to sponsor a backmarker, as they pass by the lapped car of Michel Guillot. But yeah, to get sponsors, you want to finish well, and Dawson Family Racing has been a long time backmarker team, so if they can get a real good result here, then that would be huge for them, as they come up on Clyde Chandler, who has no rear end. I don't think that's the most aerodynamic thing in the world, but they are able to pass Rossano Verano, who probably had some engine damage with the way that front end's crinkled up. But coming back to the front, whoa, that's someone you wouldn't expect in the top 10. The other Dawson, Jay Dawson, in the 40. This is very, very surprising and an extremely strong showing from the son of David Dawson. I'm speechless. This might land him some sponsorship money if this goes through, because this broadcast has been focusing on their team for a pretty good bit so far. So if a sponsor wants to get their to get their name in the broadcast, think you know who to call in Dawson Family Racing. But up front, it is all Charles Davis. He is just pulling away from Wscrl. Not that lap, but ever since he passed Serizawa, there really hasn't been any competition for him. He's just been hitting his marks and just driving consistently. That's what you need to do to win in the World Stock Car Racing League. As Pierre Descateau, that looks like the side of his car was hit by a semi truck. Not a very good looking side to that car. You might have to put some tape on it to show the numbers a little better so the officials don't get on them. I believe this is a Wurchik, Felicia Wurchik, running in 24th, the last car on the lead lap, behind the only car in front of her is Mary Harper, who's actually somewhat battling for position with the super critical car of Radamila. They come up to as Harper comes up to the 12 of Marchalik, and the 08 of, I believe, well, it's one of the Walter Energy cars. Oh yeah, Rick West. There we go. Rick West, one of the Walter Energy racing cars. There's been rumors around the garage that Walter Energy will either completely shutter or become a Division II team if the performance from their 3 drivers doesn't pick up soon, because Walter Energy has been putting a lot of money into their race team, expecting good dividends from performances, because they have a supposedly star-studded roster. I mean, you got Rick West, United States late model champion for 2001 and he's been racing since 1995 at least. So you have someone as experienced as Rick West, and then Lisa Sorensen, the 2015 Division II champion, who was racing in Asia for a little bit, the Chinese touring car series. That's pretty big over there. And then Chris Griffin, who's the 2002 champion of the World Stock Car Racing League. So you'd expect that this group of people on a team would either do really good on their own, or put Walter Energy in the at least on the podium for the team championship. But that has just not unfolded in the 2 years that they've been active. Just hampered by silly driver mistakes and just poor performances. Walter Energy's been putting in oodles and oodles of money, and they have the most reliable cars if you look at basically laps completed, but there's been nothing to show for that money. So we'll really have to see for the future of Walter Energy Corporation Racing to see how their team pans out, because they might become a Division II team real quick. as Michelle Gale probably needs to park it. She's been in and out of pit lane over and over again. And, oh, she's coming in again. And I just don't think that it's worth cycling around doing nothing. The same thing with Eddie Pearson. I mean, two cars that are probably barely meeting minimum speed. So it'd probably just be for the best. And it appears that Volkov has passed Wscrl for P2, but that's not stopping Charles Davis from just pulling away. I mean, he is absolutely a gun. I mean, he's just crossing the line and Volkov's just exiting turn 4. And how far away is he from? Oh, I hear some scraping. Oh, we have a caution. Oh, it's right in front of Charles Davis. Oh, he just barely clips one of the Walter Energy cars. I don't know what happened, but let's hope that it doesn't affect his performance too much. Oh, and it was Rick West. We were just talking about it. Eddie Pearson in it too. Oh, that was not a smart move by Eddie Pearson. Pulls up right into Maya Marchalik and collects Rick West, along with the super critical car of Wscrl. I believe Mary Harper got involved. Gale got a little scrape from it, but that must have been, yeah. That Apex racing car with no front end. I don't think it needs any more damage than it already has. As Katikumala is in, Viktorov is in. Not exactly sure what they were doing there, but as we go back to Charles Davis, for a second I thought Arturo Torres was in 4th place and I was about to go crazy, because that would have been the highest he's ever been at one point in his career. He's an independent driver. I wouldn't say mediocre, but his equipment has just not been reliable whatsoever. But as the cars slowly make their way around, coming to lap 46, we are going to 1 to green. We have multiple cars on, let's see, we have 19 cars on the lead lap, and 20th, so, and I believe that is 12 cars that are at least 1 lap down. So we'll have to see if they can get their lap back. I know the 23 of, I believe, oh gosh, it's slipping my mind. The 23 of Wscrl, the 23 of Wscrl can get her lap back, but I just think that Charles Davis is too fast in that Pero factory team. But we'll talk about him a little more as they come to the front stretch. Oops. Green flag. Charles Davis doesn't get as good of a start. What is Arturo Torres flies to the inside. I don't know if the 23 got just a bad start, but yeah, that's not something that you expect from the level-headed Torres, as it looks like it'd be a pretty clean battle between the the 60 of Volkov and the 10 of Davis. What I was speaking about right before they went green was Charles Davis's position was pretty interesting on a Pro Factory team, because historically that's been an all-French team, and 2 of the 3 drivers on that team are French, because you have Pierre Descateau in the 7, and then Michel Perrault in the 02, and then the American Charles Davis in the 10. But they selected Charles Davis because he was the United States go-kart champion, I believe, in 2017, and they just picked him up. I think this is sophomore season, and he's been showing his muscle. He's already had a win at, I believe, if my memory serves me, he's already had a win at California, which is Auto Club, and then despite being primarily an oval person, he's won at the disastrous Leipzig race in Germany. But overall, he's a pretty solid driver, and he's showing his muscle right now. As we look back to 3rd place, who is that in 3rd place? Well, it is none other than the owner of Klossner Automotive, Tony Klossner. Showing having actually a really good result, an even better result from the Rico Racing driver, Ricardo Morello. That's a name you do not expect in the top 5 very often. And an even bigger surprise is the 94 of, I believe that's Dyfin. No, I'm mistaken. That is I2 in the 6631 entry. They never really tell us why the team name is 6631. But that's how it is, as Chu gets passed by Viktorov for P5, sliding back to P6, and has Hans Ovsen on her inside. But very strong showing for the Chinese driver. She's really needed it, as we see another round of pit stops from Michelle Gale. I think that car should just retire. She's how many laps down is she? She's 23 laps down. You know, you're not going to get anything special from not gonna get anything special from just staying out. You're probably just ruining your equipment even more. But if you go back to the front, Charles Davis is gonna get around the lap car of Rick West, and Volkov has kept Davis in her sights. She's a little under a second behind, but a track like Edgewater, with its long straights and sweeping corners, it's very easy to make up time if you can get the corners correctly, because you mess up a corner, you're going to have a horrible time trying to regain the speed lost if you mess up the corner. Let's just scroll through the field a little bit. let's see, where's the 42? The 42 is, I believe this is David Dawson, up into 18th. I believe now that everything's simmered down a little bit, his equipment is showing a little bit. He's slowed down a lot. Here in the in this league, we call the Dawson equipment used goods, just because that's what it is. They don't have a lot of money as a racing team. So a lot of their chassis is used midfield parts from last season. Like, I know that at least for this race, they're getting a chassis from I believe Apollo Autosport, which doesn't really have the greatest equipment either. Don't get me wrong. And Apollo Autosport has Pearson and Randall Fox, but normally they've been the subject of just horrible reliability, as the 40 of Jay Dawson with a little bit of damage slides back into 14th. He's being challenged for 14th by Astrid Kemp in the 52. We'll have to see how that plays out. But yeah, it's not really the fastest team, but if Dawson Family Racing can get some sponsors, I think that they could really be a force to be reckoned with, because Jay and David Dawson are just very talented people, but they have just never had the equipment to really bring out their potential. As scrolling through the field a little more, Wscrl has dropped to 10th from her earlier position of 2nd, stuck behind Clyde Chandler, who is doing surprisingly well despite a video of her team sawing off her back end, starting to go a little viral on various social media websites, and that's probably not very good for that car's aerodynamics. But Serizawa easily blows by. I think Chandler just gave Serizawa the spot. No point in trying to fight a completely clean car when your car doesn't have a back end. Let's see. Right in front of Serizawa is the 14 of Julian Blanc, the owner of Blanc Racing Technologies. This is actually a pretty good showing for her, running up in 7th at the moment. Gonna drop back to 8th once Serizawa passes her. But this has been a pretty good showing for Blanc, because she had an awful 2021 season, hampered by wrecks, just silly mistakes, engine troubles. They've really had problems with pistons in their engines, and they make their own engines. Just not really out of a cost thing, but it's a lot more of an ego thing. Like, we're Blanc Racing Technology, we can make our own engines, and kind of just blows up in their face, both literally and figuratively, when it comes to engine reliability. As we see Yalen back in that very bright in that very bright 98 car. In 7th place. Serizawa is starting to haul. I think that she just lost her groove for a second, and now she's getting back in it. And she's up in 6th place, and she has to catch the 94 of Chu, but it's Chu isn't really the fastest driver, which, you know, is just fact, you know. But they call 6631 racing parts Chinese factory made, because, well, 6631 race team is the Chinese team, and their cars kind of have a tendency to just fall apart pretty much. Ricardo Morelli, up in 4th, behind 3 lap cars, Descato, Kumala, and Viktorov, with the 31 of Klossner about 4 seconds ahead. So unless something happens, he might just be content with 4th place. But Serizawa is hauling, so he might just have to deal with a 5th place finish. As we're coming up on halfway, 80 laps out of 160, coming up soon. As yep, we've hit lap 80 out of 160. Fastest lap goes to Charles Davis, the 22.969. He's the only car to be in the 22s. As you know, that can just be pretty telling of how fast he's really going. As he's approaching the Dawson cars and the I believe it's Lisa Sorensen in front of him. Actually, that's a pretty big gaggle of cars. I see Verano in front of him, but he's just so fast. It just, you know, he's bound to pass him unless there's like a caution or something. But the caution, no cautions yet. Gets past Sorensen, the Walter Energy car. Gets past David Dawson. I don't think that he's really trying to put up a fight. I think that Dawson just wants to ride around for the time being. A top 20 is a great a great finish in for that team. A fair amount of money that that Dawson Family Racing needs, as Davis passes Jay Dawson, and coming up on that is Rossano Verano. But not a whole lot is happening outside of Charles Davis making his way through the field. You have a big cluster of cars. I still don't know how Chandler is in 10th place with that buzzsaw back end job. But she has Carstensen in front of her. Carstensen, you know, if you really wanted just average driver, oh gosh, the 49 of Jorgen Carstensen is your person. As Serizawa comes in, I believe this might kick off a round of pit stops with Serizawa coming in. I'd imagine that would just be to try to leapfrog, as we see Yallenbeck come in. Here comes Carstensen, 29. I believe that is the O. Yeah, that's the O2. As one of the two Dawsons is in. Volkov getting some tires. Davis, we'll have to see where he cycles out, but I think he's just far enough ahead to just come back and take lead pretty easily. As Ricardo Morello stays out an extra lap and gets his point from leading a lap, as we see Charles Davis fly by the pit lane. See Humala, Verano, Marshalik, as I believe that is that's the 02 of Perot. Currently, the current leader is the 94 of Aichu, if we can find her. As she pulls in a pit lane, and then they're just trying to get as many points as they can as we look at Perot. But Davis is already back in third place, as he is quickly catching Arturo Torres and Jorgen Carstensen, as he he takes back the top spot, approaching lap 90 out of 160. And unless something happens, like a caution that he gets in, or a horribly timed mechanical failure, I think that Davis has this in the bag. You know, no real doubt about it, to be honest. I'm just hoping I'm not putting a commentator's curse on Davis. But coming around Aichu and Jorgen Carstensen, if you look at the ticker, there's soon to be only 4 cars left on the lead lap. That's just the pure dominance shown by Charles Davis, as he comes around Jorgen Carstensen. But this might be a big year for Charles Davis, because he's needed a pretty good break. A pretty good break from just heartbreak after heartbreak, as Carstensen trying to get his lap back. He has a pretty good run on Davis, but Davis defends pretty well. Doesn't try to chop him off, but just has a lot more speed entering the corner as they approach. Clyde Chandler, you saw Randall Fox in pit lane, just exiting a stall. But they're pretty spread out. Here's, I believe it's Radomir Werchik and the supercritical 66. Here is Ricardo Morello. Mary Harper without a front end. Apex Racing is known for tearing off front ends when they get damage. And I think that Walter Energy is taking a page out of their book, because you know, a lot recently we've seen a lot more Walter Energy cars without front ends. But Wscrl has gone past Ricardo Morello. I don't remember if I said that. But she's now in 3rd place and now trying to hunt down Angelina Volkov for 2nd place. But I think that soon we'll have to see Ricardo Morello get passed by Charles Davis. You just barely saw him in the back, and you see him in the screen almost about across the start-finish line to start lap 99. To put only 3 cars on the lead lap. Just, you know, there's been very dominant performances like, oh gosh, like trying to rack my brain right now, like Oscar Nicola's 2014 Finland race where he led 98% of the race and put all but 5 cars 1 lap down, and that's crazy considering it's a 3-mile long track. But yeah, he if this stays as is, this will be the most cars 1 lap down in a race since, God, I think the last time I remember this was when I covered the Martinsville race back in 2004, when there were a lot more short tracks on the World Stock Car Racing League schedule. Now there's only a couple. I mean, if you want to count, I mean, the definition of a short track a lot of times is a track under a mile. But yeah, you could call this more of an intermediate track since it's just above a mile. But it starts to blur the line when you have tracks like Dover and Phoenix and New Hampshire and the like. But that's just irrelevant and just fluff words right now. As to believe we just crossed the line for lap 104. Charles Davis is creeping up on Ricardo Morello. Michelle Gale, I'm really not sure what they're pitting for all the time, but she's 50 laps down. You know, I've said this too many times during this broadcast. Just pit. That's all I can say. Just pit. But 56 laps to go, and it is just it's just a Charles Davis show right now. You just pulled half a second on Angelina Volkov. David Dawson in the 42, running in 14th. There's not a whole lot of action going on, just a lot of single file racing as Perot and Verano get by the damaged 81 car of Mary Harper. And Tony Klosser in 8th place, trying to get around Mark Mann in the Patriot Racing car. But that might be a little bit of a challenge because Mark Mann has consistently been very fast around this track, but I think that he's really having an off day because he's running in 24th right now. I think he got in that big wreck that really didn't need to happen. He probably could have had a much better, much closer race if that caution didn't excuse me, that caution didn't come out. Yeah, there's a big gaggle of cars, including second place Volkov, and this is just killing any hopes of catching Davis. As I believe Morello is becoming within striking distance of Davis. Might as well play the Jaws theme. If Morello finishes where he does, and he's a pretty good driver, this will be his highest finish in a very, very long time. He's been competing for the better part of what, 16 years? He's won one race, and that was, believe that was the Daytona Road Course back in, oh god, I don't know, I think 2010, so 12 years ago. So I think he's looking for any good result, and he's perfectly happy, and all he needs is just a race without mistakes. Astrid Kempf, who's currently running in 15th place, stuck behind Ovsen and David Dawson. Kempf, who's co-owner of Kempf Jallenbeck Racing, as the other co-owner, Ralph Jallenbeck, is currently in 12th place. But Kempf Jallenbeck Racing had pretty big aspirations last season in 2021, and to say that they missed the mark would be a pretty big understatement. They just didn't perform, and when they had the speed, they got hampered by reliability issues. Jallenbeck was going to win at France, and with 2 to go, the right front toe link on the suspension snapped after entering the first corner, resulting in a pretty scary wreck. But they were fine, and they're trying to have a little bit of a bounce back here in 2022, as we see Morello try to use Sorensen as a pick to defend his position, and I bet he's absolutely praying that a caution comes out right now. But his prayer isn't answered, and he goes one lap down. Yep, but 3 cars left on the lead lap, as we have 43 to go. And it's been surprisingly clean. Only I think 2 cautions? Whoa, Morello really sailed it in there. Yikes, that could have been really bad. He almost clipped wheel wells, and that could have easily taken out him and Carstensen, which is something that he really didn't need, to say the least. He, if he wants to keep his top 5, probably doesn't need to do anything stupid like trying to dive it in on the leader to keep his position. But we come to 40 to go. Pretty short lap times, about I believe 23-24 seconds. But Volkov is a little under 10 seconds. So I think that Davis can probably drive with one hand and still win. But like I said, not a whole lot happening, you know. Ooh, Mary Harper kind of blocking Davis. Davis giving a little side bump to Harper, showing that he isn't the happiest. Astrid Kemp dives into pit lane. I don't know if that's scheduled or not, but excuse me, my mouth is dry. Oh, I don't think that was Astrid Kemp. I believe that was my mistake. I think that might have been the 90 of Simon Archer. Very similar looking cars, green and yellow cars. Whoa! Ovesen and Morello get together. What happened there? As both of them definitely not going to be on the nice list. Oh, Morello just overdrove the corner, and that wasn't the brightest move when Morello does not need that. He's dropped down to 9th from 5th, and Ovesen wasn't even for position. So there really was no need for that to happen. As we see the field fly by, we saw a car entering pit lane, but I didn't really catch who it was. But Morello now has to catch a pro of the in the O2, and I think he has enough speed to catch it. But I mean to catch her. But that was a really stupid move by Morello. I'm sure he didn't mean it, but he just overdrove the corner, and he almost took Ovesen and him for a really wild ride. Thankfully they both saved it, but thankfully they both saved it, but he really had to slow down. And in the distance we saw Wscrl come into pit. So this might be the start of green flag pit stops for the final time. Yep, that's not Chris Davis. Charles Davis. Saw David Dawson in there. I believe that that is Volkov. We just saw 3 wide back there trying to get into turn 1. That is Jay Dawson, Vladimir Orchik, and Simon Archer. Simon Archer? That was the name, right? Yeah, Simon Archer. My mistake. Okay. The 90 of Archer, he's 4 laps down. He's part of Apex Racing, who's normally a very fast team as Davis pulls out, but Carstensen leads the lap. I believe he's about to pull into pit lane. Yep, slowing down, and we'll have to see if I2 comes into pit lane as well. I2 stays out another lap, really stretching it, trying to get that. I don't believe she led a lap earlier, so really trying to get that. Really trying to get that extra point for leading, and she does. But Wscrl now on fresher tires is going to just try her best to tear through the field. as I2 still hasn't hit, which is rather surprising. I mean, even if you save to the max, you aren't going to make it. There's 28 laps to go. That's 28 miles. These cars aren't really the most efficient cars in the world, as you see Morello and Radmiller Orchard in pit lane. I believe that is Verano exiting. There's Mark Mann. I think that I2's just trying to get her 15 minutes of fame, and I believe she's now gonna pull into the pits. Yep. So Charles Davis now behind Simon Archer. Simon Archer moves out of the way. Very courteous lap car driving by Simon Archer. But yeah, I choose probably gonna go a lap down or two, just because that, you know, you're not really going to gain anything. Not really going to gain anything except for an extra lap. I believe we saw her exit her pit stall. Serizawa well over 17 seconds behind. I think that she's probably the second fastest car on the track, but she's just too far behind to try to catch Volkov, or an even more far-fetched idea, Charles Davis. But alright, so up behind Tony Klossner. KMZ Racing has been really having up and down seasons. KMZ Race Team. I believe that their other car, driven by Miyu Nakajima, did get involved in that big wreck near the beginning of the race. But KMZ Race Team has really had an up and down last season in 2021. They got a win. They got a win for each driver. I believe they finished third in team points, because they were just pretty consistent, but their luck was very inconsistent. Lat cars, flat tires, really took them out of the ability for a driver's championship, when Wscrl was probably one of the favorites to win it coming into the 2021 season. And showing pretty good pace, at least at Edgewater. We'll have to wait to see how the intermediate tracks like Texas and I know that Euro Speedway is on the schedule, which is a little bit longer than a mile. But we'll have to see, as we have 18 laps to go. David Dawson pulls in the pit lane. I think that might be an unscheduled pit stop. Mechanical problems might be hampering that car, which is a pretty big shame, as I believe we just saw on the ticker. Jay Dawson is in 11th. Yes, Jay Dawson is in 11th. 2 laps down, and the car he has to catch to get one of his only top 5 ever is Ralph Yallenbeck, and believe that Yallenbeck has reported that he does not have power steering in the car, so he's really wrestling the car through the corners. That is 23.787, 23.741. So Jay Dawson's very slowly reeling him in, but I don't know if he has enough time, if those if that disparity between the laps, excuse me, the disparity between the laps is consistent. But being stuck behind the 23 of I believe it's Wscrl, right? Yeah, Wscrl. Being stuck behind the 23 certainly helps as Charles Davis is stuck behind Mark Mann, and he was stuck behind Hans Oakson for a couple seconds. As I believe, if he once he gets past Mark Mann, he'll have the ability to put Pro and Morello a lap down. Coming to 11 to go in this competition. It's been the Chris Davis show, and really nothing else, as Davis finally gets past Mark Mann to put him another lap down, as he kind of struggles to get past Perot, but I think he's just taking it easy. You know, no point in trying to force his way through, make a mistake, and allow Angelina Volkov to sneak a win in. But I think that this might be a very good indication of what's to come for Pro Factory Team, and because a pretty strong showing for the cars that still aren't mangled to pieces. I mean, you have the 0-2 of Pro in 9th, and the 10 of Davis absolutely dominating since the very beginning. But trying to really think of something to say that I haven't said before. But Yallenbeck, I don't think that, as much as we'd love to see, I don't think that Jay Dawson's getting the top 10 that he wanted. But I think that 11th and the prize money that comes with the 11th is more than enough to fund at least his next race. And the same for I don't know what happened to David Dawson. He's 5 laps down. I guess he had a tire go down or something, because he went from only a couple positions behind Jay Dawson to 5 laps down. But I think the prize money from Jay Dawson's 11th place will put both of them in a pretty good position, and maybe they'll pick up some sponsors. With 4 to go, Davis is looking to put Morello another lap down, and I bet Morello is kicking himself for overdriving the corner when he could have just easily had top 5. But He dropped down to 8th, so he's still in for a top 10. But you can't really say heartbreaking because that was just a silly move on his part. Maybe it was like stress getting to him or something. I don't know. But 2 laps to go for Chris Davis, who's been dominant all day. He just has to do 8 more corners, make it 7 as he peeks to the inside of Morello, and going to pass, or does he? I think he's just going to relax behind Morello. White flag waving, and it's been the Chris Davis. Oh gosh, Charles Davis. I don't know why I keep saying Chris Davis. It's been the Charles Davis show. He's really been just, no one could catch him. Lapped everyone but 3 or 2 other cars. Checkered flag. Charles Davis wins at Edgewater. Volkov in 2nd place. Wscrl in 3rd. Jorgen Carstensen in 4th. The 14 of Julian Blanc, good running for her, in 5th. The 31 of Klossner, 6th. Aichu, an amazing run for her standards, 7th. I believe that's Michelle Perot. Yeah, Michelle Perot. Wanted a little bit more, but I think that she'd be more than happy with an 8th place. Ralph Yallenbeck, 9th. And would you look at that? Jay Dawson in the number 40 scores a 10th place finish. An amazing finish for him and Dawson Family Racing. I think that they're going to have a party in the shop later tonight. But that does it for the broadcast of the World Stock Car Racing League first race at Edgewater. We'll see you next time.